Hello and welcome to the first episode of Casual Anime Connoisseurs. I am Anthony, and this is my best buddy Alex. And
Oh no, hello, hello.
yeah, hello. And we're here to be connoisseurs of casual and just talk about anime and video games and stuff we like. Uh, Easy enough. I
Yep,
guess we'll start with some quick
sure.
introductions. Do you want to go first, Alex?
Yeah, I'll go first. All right, so my name is Alex. I been watching anime for a good old I don't know 20 years. The first thing I actually watched was Kiki's Delivery Service, and my mom said I would play that on a repeat for hours. So that's how I first got into anime.
That that's a great movie though.
It is. It's amazing. I love it. But in actuality, the first anime I saw was probably I'd say Naruto at first,
That's fair.
and then I had friends who were a lot older, and they recommended me some great choices. My first actual anime that I fully completed was Neon Genesis Evangelion at the ripe age of 9 years old. Not only did I finish the whole anime, I also watched End of Eva, the movie, which, if you don't know, it's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not for a 9-year-old. The second anime was even better. It was Elfen Lied, a gory mess.
Your friends just bullied you into anime. Like,
They actually did. They're like, hey, you know what? Sailor Moon, nah. Bleach, nah. Neon Genesis,
yeah,
easy.
Bleach. Let's just go straight into the good shows. I'm surprised you made it out alive from those two. Most people probably would have just like
Stopped.
dropped it and been like, I'm gonna go back to watching like regular cartoons.
Yep.
It's not bad though. I actually have I have a very similar introduction to anime. I actually, I mean, everyone's like from like our age growing up was probably like Pokemon, like Yu-Gi-Oh, all that stuff. Kind of growing up were those were the shows that like kind of were your introductory shows. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember my mom came home with just like you. She had Kiki's Delivery Service on VCR. I still own it as well, and I used to watch that movie all the time. That was my like first Miyazaki. And then after that, she bought um she bought me Spirited Away and Castle in the Sky.
Oh my god, you got the three
I
classics right
did.
there.
I had like the growing up little child like trifecta of introductory anime movies, and it was great. But of course, at this time, I was like watching like Pokemon all the time and things like that. But those were my introductions. And then I actually have like the biggest sob story of like I really don't remember like the first actual anime that I like probably went onto YouTube to watch in parts
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know where else to go. And I'm just gonna say it was probably Haruhi Suzumiya, I think.
Oh
Was
man.
was
Okay.
probably the first show I watched, and I actually forget when it even first aired, but I think that was the first. And I remember I was always trying to find out more about the show, like watch the next couple episodes. And then in the comments, I remember there was always people who were like, "Oh my God, you're watching it in the wrong order." Because the big conversation about, "Oh, do you watch it in release order or should you
Or
watch
the
it
chronological
in
order.
the like yes, the chronological order of the actual show?" And I remember watching it in like release order, and I think when you get to that episode where I mean almost everyone's seen this show, so when you get to the episode where like they kiss, I'm like, oh wow, this would have been a great finale. And then I kept watching the last couple episodes because it was release order, and then I realized, oh wait, that actually was the end of the show technically. But that was my introduction, so it wasn't too bad. And then from
Yeah.
then on, I just went down the dark hole into becoming a casual.
Yes, the greatest shows that we bonded over in high school, dude.
The
Uh,
good times. But I mean, it makes sense because I mean, well, for me, I guess the a little more about which kind of shows I like. It's kind of hard to describe it into like just say one genre of anime is what I really love. But I guess those shows like Death Note or Code Geass, for example, that are like those mind game chess match shows where you just like you kind of know what the other person's doing, but you don't, and it's just this battle of wits between both characters are like my favorite kinds of shows. Like that's why like I hold like Code Geass kind of in like a really close like place is because I like loved that show so much and it was just like, oh my gosh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do next? Like it had me on the edge of my seat for the whole run. But I
Yeah,
mean, besides that too, like there's shows that you can just watch and just have like a bunch of fun, like Konosuba, for example. And then there's, like action shows or just, for example, growing up, like the big three. I mean, Naruto has like a really special place in like my heart too, because that's something that I watched like growing up when I was young too, before I got like really, really into the rabbit hole.
yeah. That's the same thing. Like I remember, like um, it's a little like off topic, not really, but I would have church on Saturdays, not Sundays,
Okay.
and it would just happen to be where like as soon as church ended and my parents went home fast enough, I would catch the new episode of Naruto on Cartoon Network. So like I'd be like, guys, we gotta go home. We gotta go home. I gotta watch the new episode of like Naruto, and they'd be into it. They're like, okay, yeah, yeah, sure, we'll go catch it, and they would like watch it with me
Wait, wait, wait. Did
sometimes.
your parents actually watch Naruto with you?
Yeah, like sometimes they were like, yeah, because
Oh my,
like I'd watch it
oh,
downstairs, and they're like, they had to, what are they gonna watch? They couldn't watch anything
that's
else,
true.
so
That's true.
they watched like Naruto with me. It was like
Oh, that's
amazing.
that's awesome because I remember I was the same way when I was a kid. Either I think Naruto aired on Saturday nights on Toonami for me,
Yeah, yeah,
right? It was like what? I think 8 to 8:30 and then 8:30 to 9, or it was 9 to 9:30 and then 9:30 to 10, one of the two
yeah,
hour slots. And I remember my parents had this thing where like we'd go out on like Saturdays for dinner sometimes, and whenever we went out for dinner, we'd always be like, "We got to be home by 9. We got to be home by 9." So my brother and I could watch Naruto, and we would like make it a scene to like get home. And I remember sitting down to watch my 2 episodes every Saturday, and it was horrible because if I ever missed one, I never really knew where to find them because like Naruto episodes, I think at the time weren't really posted on YouTube in that like
Mhm.
3 episode format.
Yeah. No, they
So
weren't.
it was just like I lost them. So I would have to wait till next week and be like, okay, trying to piece together what happened in my head. And sometimes if it was just like a one-shot arc or just like the end of an arc, I'm like, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
But I
Like you
mean,
would get lucky sometimes because like I think they always played the rerun. They would play the last week episode and then the new episode.
oh,
But yeah,
I actually didn't even know that as a kid.
I feel like they did. Like I'm pretty sure like it was something like that because I remember like I would miss a few episodes because like my parents would stay over at church like a little longer than usual, just talking to their friends, and then I'd be like, okay, we'll miss the episode, but then like luckily next week I would like catch the rerun and then the new episode, so it'd be all good.
Oh yeah, look at you being a good Catholic boy going to church after watching Evangelion. I can't
Pretty
believe
much
you.
even and all the classic church imagery of crosses and
Evangelion taught you a lot about the Catholic Church, didn't
oh, it did.
it?
Taught me that we all want to be orange goo at the end of the day.
That's fair. I can respect it, but that's all about the shows that we like, and that brings us into our definite big void topic that I've been wanting to talk about with you all season. Um, is the old shows that we think we'll enjoy versus shows that we actually enjoy.
Ah, yes.
So coming into this season, I was like, oh, like SAO is having his final part of the Alicization arc, and I mean, SA, SAO is my like guilty pleasure. Like if I'm ever feeling down, I'm like, I'm gonna go watch these really dumb fights in SAO that are over in like 3 minutes, but it's weird. It makes me feel good, and I mean, this is my quick journey through SAO. Like the Inkrad arc is like, all right, it's okay. I mean, it was good. Then like the Alfheim arc, just it's kind of there. It exists.
Yeah.
GGO's kind of whatever. I enjoyed it, but it's like it wasn't anything spectacular. Mother's Rosario was like okay.
Oh,
The Asuna part is definitely the better part in all
yeah.
of it. And then SAO's, I felt like it was always trying to climb up from like this pit from the Alfheim arc that everybody was like, "What are you doing? Like this is just not good." And it tried and tried, and I I never doubted them. And then they came out with Alicization season 1. And that first episode of Alicization where they gave you, I don't know how, they got the hour time slot for it and they put out that hour-long episode that just completely drew you into this new world, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. I remember you telling me like, yeah, because you told me to watch it, and I'd given up at this point. I'm like, all right, I'm not watching SAO ever again, right? And you
You
kept
didn't
telling me like,
believe
just
me.
watch it, watch it, watch it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I sat down, I watched the whole thing, and it made me feel how like SAO season 1 felt, but like when it was like just the good parts, just the straight good parts. I was like,
Yeah.
like, I'm drawn into this like world and these characters because it's not just like classic Kirito
It's not
like
just
and his
Asuna and like
harem.
his troop of girls who will do
Yeah.
anything for him. It was just good. Like, and I think for me, the best part about it was the other characters weren't there. Like all of those characters who just already existed and were already back burner characters, just they stayed on the back burner. They didn't exist. And you got Yujio and you got Alice and you got like everybody else to just build on. You're like, oh, okay, the stakes are there. His brain is kind of, mashed potatoes, but also it's like he's in this new place with new laws and new like inner workings, and it's great. And the whole first season, when he got to the end, I was like, even at the end, I was like, damn, I can't wait for the new one. And then the second season hit, and I remember because I finally got you to watch the first season, we watched the first season of War of the Underworld, and it wasn't bad. Like it was good. The knights are trying to. I think I might be messing up the timeline, but the knights were trying to fight the Dark Land, the Dark Army, and it was still good. Like they put Kirito on a back burner as the main character, and they got to develop all the other characters, all the other Integrity Knights who we thought were just whatever. They're just kind of like filler characters. They actually
Mhm.
had feelings and had like motivations, and like you got to feel really good about them. And then it happened,
Mhm.
which I called this not even halfway through the season. I'm like, they're gonna bring back all the other characters. Apologies if anyone hasn't actually seen um, Alicization World, the Underworld. You will be spoiled. Um, when all the other characters come back in, you're just like, you just have to facepalm because all these characters that you don't care about are flooding back into the show in the second part of War of the Underworld, and you're just like, I, f- I feel like I've gone back to the old formula of SAO where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Kirito's the main character, he's overpowered, and it's just like the other characters are there to just show you how strong he is. They have these like god accounts and they're just getting stomped, and then you just don't feel good. You're like,
No,
oh, and
because
like
it
every
definitely took like
episode.
oh my god for it.
No, I was just gonna say like every episode is just like another face palm or like another exhale, like we're back in the formula. Here we go again. And it's just it really sucked away all the magic that Alicization kind of had for me, and it made me feel really bad.
Yeah. I was just gonna say like yeah, it definitely took like one step forward, two steps back with the like the second or the last part of it because
Yeah.
like for example, the one scene I remember was the purple haired knight with like the really sharp sword who wanted to cut everything.
Oh
Her
yeah, yeah,
versus like
yeah.
the fighter like clan leader.
Hmm.
That was amazing. I love that part completely. That was just great. Like straight, solid. Like this brand new characters. They had their own reasoning and everything. It wasn't just hey, look, I'm Kirito. I'm overpowered. Here's my harem.
Yeah. But also wait, are you talking about the fight in the season airing right now, the part two of the Underworld,
Mm,
or when they
no, no,
fight
before that
before?
one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
before.
the first time they fight, yeah. Like for example, okay, I'm gonna one up you on that. Remember the fight? I forget her name, but she's the knight that shoots like the laser beams out.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
Her fight where her like underling knight goes and like saves her from like the orc that's about to like kill her. Do you remember that
Mhm.
scene?
I do remember. Yeah, yeah.
That scene, I felt there was like so much passion behind that scene, and these characters that you just like only got to know for just like a couple episodes in this season, like completely 180, and you're like, oh my gosh, like why do I feel so much emotion for this character? And then this other no name character in a matter of seconds. Like it's just they did such a good job of making you care about the the other knights and the like residents of the underworld. And then they got to the currently airing season, and I think we both know when we knew it was going downhill, not because of like the finale of War of the Underworld Part 1, where everyone from, you know, ALO comes in and you're just like, oh boy, the friendship train has arrived. It's the first episode of the new season.
Mm-hmm.
I think I counted with you, and you know where I'm going with this. I
Yes.
think out of maybe excluding the ending song, there was probably like 21 minutes of the show running.
Yeah.
There was maybe I think we counted 8.5 to 9.5 minutes of the Leafa like tentacle porn
Scene.
scene,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, man, I know it's classic. Who's the writer? Reki Kawahara, I think is the writer.
Yeah.
He's like, classic him. Like first season, it's the Kirito Asuna in bed scene that they don't show. Fine. He gets a little more risque in ALO with the tentacle scene again with Asuna. GGO, there's the scene with Sonon at the end, and it's just like, okay, he has all of these scenes. In the first season of Underworld, it was the little bondage scene with the the two
The girls.
younger
And
girl knights.
ordinal scale. You forgot about ordinal scale, by the way.
Wait, what
Um,
happened in Ordinal Scale? I don't remember that one.
the Asuna bath scene. They literally showed Asuna
Oh, the
naked.
bat. Oh man, I blanked it out from my memory because I tried to like Ordinal Scale and I really did, but oh, I forgot about that. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding. But I mean, he always has his scene. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you're in the middle of technically a war, and I think they spent probably a third of the episode just on this scene with Leafa, and that in the end drew nothing to the plot. Like nothing happened with
Nope.
n- nothing happened with like the pig people. I'm forgetting the word for them, but just like and her like there was no the plot didn't go anywhere besides that the the sorceress, the Dark Army sorceress, got killed. And it's just, what's the point of this scene? And then the rest of the season just went downhill. As I said
Yeah.
before, facepalm after facepalm. Before I just watched I'm currently just watching the show, so I can end it and say, okay, I finished this arc, this season, and it's sad. But then I don't know if you introduced me to the savior of my Friday afternoons, but I know we both have a lot of fun watching this. I'll let you take it away from here.
Oh man, yes. I a little background. I have, I don't know. It's my guilty pleasure as well. Watching really, really bad anime, having to deal with like mainly like demon, whether it be like I don't know Iruma, except for Iruma's actually good. But this one's a special one. This one's was it Misfit a Demon High, right?
Yeah,
Or,
the Misfit of Demon High.
oh man,
This show
I don't.
just brings me so much joy.
Yeah, because it's that thing where like it's anime, right? It's back to the classic formula of anime. It's out there, like it doesn't take itself seriously, and it's just fun. It's just fun to watch. It's not like it doesn't have some like convoluted plot, or I guess you could say it kind of does. But it's just fun to watch. Like it's enjoyable. I feel like a kid again just watching this show.
Yeah, like I can say for me, this show makes me feel like I'm watching peak anime. Like I came into this show no expectations. I'm like I just want to have fun. It looks like a fun show, and the show delivered. And I it might be a little unfair to compare it to like SAO because obviously I mean this show has been around since like what I think 2008 is when the first season aired, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
And it's just like it has this loyal fan base, people are like, "Oh, just wait till it gets to Alicization. It's so good. Just wait, just wait." And we waited and we got there and it was good. And then it went downhill. But like I think that's the problem is Alicization in it at the end of War of the Underworld it's like they want you to believe that there's stakes for all the characters, and there really aren't. It's just kind of Kirito who's at stake here.
Mhm.
Everyone else is on their fake accounts, whereas like it tries to build this sense of like urgency, and it's just not there. You don't feel it. And then I go and
Nah.
watch a Demon King after, and I'm like, this show's not trying to be anything but itself. And it's this pure bundle of joy where I get to watch Anos Voldigold every
Just
week just be
right
the
house.
massive Chad man that he is and just obliterate everybody because he's pretty much the main character that he has it all. He has it all. He can't be stopped, and it's an absolute joy to watch. Like for example, I think my favorite part is the really bad dialogue he says, where he's
Oh
just like,
yes.
"Oh, you thought you could just kill me and I'd die?" Like I'm having flashbacks to like Studio D and Fate Stay Night where he's like, "Well, people die when they are killed." No, no, no.
Oh my god.
It's that tier of meme dialogue that just makes me laugh because it just fits. It fits 100% into the show.
It fits. Yeah, because like the what is it? I'm trying to remember the scene of like what happened. Like pretty much like some villain like tried like killing him, but he just like kind of came back and he's like, "Hey, no, you thought you could kill me? You thought it was you thought I would die by killing me or something like that?" And that was
That's
just
actually
great.
quote. You thought I would die by killing me. End quote. That is the savior of my Saturday afternoons. I'm so glad that both of these shows I can watch them both one after another. And then we just decided to watch SAO first. And no matter how I feel after that show, I'm always feeling way better watching
Yeah, I
The
remember
Misfit
the
of
one
Demon
night.
High.
I remember the one night. I forgot which episode it was of SA, but I was like really upset. Like I was like, "Oh man, I don't feel good about this. Like I want to go to sleep." And you're like, "No, no, no. Let's just watch Misfit." You know, I was like, "Okay." And it immediately made me feel so much better. I was like, "Oh my god,
I know what
this
you're
is
talking
just
about
great."
because I remember it was like midnight and you had work the next day and we just finished SAO and you're like, I have to go to bed. I'm like, dude, you have the worst taste in your mouth. Let's watch Demon King. And you were like, oh, fine. And I remember we were laughing so hard. I don't think I've laughed so hard watching a show probably since I watched Konosuba, maybe because I laughed a lot during Konosuba.
Yeah,
And I can't think of the show. I'm gonna look it up really quick. Oh yes, I remember now. Hinamatsuri. Did you watch Hinamatsuri?
I watched I think half the season. I've always wanted to finish it though.
Yeah, I think I showed you the first episode or the first two, and you were like, "Oh
You
my
more like the
God."
first six, dude. I watched like six in a row, and I was like loving it.
Yeah, that show is absolutely like bonkers funny. It's a great time. And I think like Demon King is but all those shows have something in common where like they're not too trying too hard to be something they're not. Like Konosuba does what it does great. It's comedy, it's over the top, and it's just it knows what it is and it sticks to the status quo of the show and it's fine. Same thing with like Hinamatsuri. It's just a comedy with like this, but it has a nice like underlying story that I mean it kind of gets solved, I guess. But it's just enjoyable. And then you have Demon King where like you have this show. It's just the story honestly doesn't even matter.
No, it
But
does not.
it's just I have a lot of fun watching it, and I think it's really something that like if you like anime at all, it's just there's really nothing to not like about the show. Like I actually, if I tried really hard to pick something on about the show, I really can't. Like I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if you
That's
have
it.
any ideas of like if like
Of like
if
what
you
would be wrong with that show at
yeah
all.
like just try really hard to think of something that like something you don't like about Demon King. It's
It's hard. It's hard because it's just great.
It's good. I think something that like I can say is like it's one of those shows that's not gonna get a second season, or
Oh
the
yeah,
it's
no.
it's definitely like it's not intentional, but I think most of like the 13 episode shows are where it's like oh if this gets like a really big enough following we'll make another one, but it's mostly like oh go read the manga or like oh go read the source material. So
Mhm.
it's one of those shows where you're just like I'm here for the ride and it's gonna be a good one.
Yep.
But I think comparing back to it's funny and it's really weird to compare it to SAO because it's totally not it's not the same
Yeah,
type of
they're
show at
different.
all.
They're different, but
It's just the unfortunate fact that they aired on the same day. And it's like, wow, I just enjoy one way more than the other. And
yeah,
that's
because
just it's
one
just my
tries way
opinion.
too hard. Like SEO just tries too hard, like way too hard. Like if you
Yep.
want to go back on that, like back on the SEO thing, um, the whole thing with yeah, like you talked about, they're trying to make stakes. Like there's like um, consequences to like the character's actions, but there really aren't. The only one in actual trouble would be like Kirito and maybe Asuna. But they're trying to make it like the first season where like like everyone would die, but this there's no point. Like none of
Yeah.
the characters are really developed for you to care about their actual like in-game character.
It's
Like
not. And I agree with you for when everyone finally comes back and like Klein and Liz and everyone are fighting and like they're getting slashed down and like Klein's getting stabbed and I'm just like it's just his avatar. It's not even him. Like yeah, he might
no,
feel some pain, but he's gonna wake up in his room. Like just it was weird. I think I don't know, but like SAO had some pretty meme moments this season that made me really laugh. First of all of the English the Knights had made
oh
me
my
made me fall out of my
god,
chair
dude.
laughing. I'm always a big fan of like the really bad English that I'm sorry, like the bad, like, oh, it's so funny because it's just laughable. It reminds me a lot actually of, did you ever watch Terror in Resonance?
Yes,
You did,
I did.
okay. Do you remember when they bring out I don't know, it's like the girl at the end and she's American and she speaks like obviously they just have like the Japanese voice actress speaking in English and
Mhm.
oh man, it's like laughable. And I'm not trying to sound mean at all here, but it's just funny because it just sounds like it's so off. Like it just takes away it takes you out of the
Yeah,
moment. Like like that show was really serious. I really enjoyed that show. That show was fantastic. I liked like the art was awesome, and I mean the ending was a little but it's just like it takes you out of the moment, and it's like wow, I was invested in this like in this scene in this moment in the show, and now
and then it's just kind of ruined.
all I can think about is the super bad English accent, and it's not that good. It's just it makes you feel weird. But in SAO,
Yeah,
it's like it's not a serious show. It's not a drama. It's not a thriller. So this happens, and I'm like, oh man, like this is such a meme when they're just talking about like the Japanese players. So that's one. And then I feel like SAO just got so like back into its old routine that you can call everything that's gonna happen before it even happens. I remember watching the
mhm.
show with you, and I was just like when Kirito was fighting Vecta, and I'm just like, oh, he's getting beaten. And I paused the video because I was watching it with you, and I said, I guarantee you, because there was that little piece of dialogue where he said, "Oh, he can't be hit with normal attacks." I guarantee you, he's gonna flash back to his back in his days in A
Oh
grad,
my
and
god,
he's
yep.
gonna be like Starburst Stream, and he's gonna start like slashing or do something dumb, and he did, and I called it, and I started laughing because it's so predictable, and I know you couldn't stop laughing in this week's episode. Um, so again, if you haven't seen up to, I think this week was episode 9. Uh, probably skip forward. This is going to be a spoiler, but the robot part, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. Oh
The
my
part with the
god.
robot where apparently Kaiba was in the robot the whole time. It was like, oh, this man put his brain on the internet. Where did he go? Oh, I'm just gonna sit in this robot for God knows how much time. And then the batteries die in the robot.
It's so
and,
bad.
and she's like, "You're the commander of the Knights of Blood Oath. Kirito is your rival." And she gives him this little pump up speech, and then he turns back on. And I'm like, this is just the same hacks that Kirito did when he was fighting Heathcliff, and when he was like, the power of love and anime will undelete my character and make me stab you. That's pretty much what happened, except with like a living robot, not a virtual character, a living robot,
Living robot, yep.
a real life machine that could not operate anymore. Where I'm just like, oh, this is just like the essence of, oh, I don't even know. It's just so it's so frustrating when it happens because you're like, you could do anything. He could have pulled it off, and then he could have blown up, and then they could have everyone could have seen like the silhouette of him in his like Knights of Blood Oath, captain uniform with the sword. They could have done anything, but it's just like when you go to this, I don't know. I mean, that's always been the staple for SAO. Is like the power of the soul, like the willpower kind of thing, which
Mhm.
it's on brand. It makes sense, but it's just something else.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just try too hard,
Yeah,
and it just makes the show like not really enjoyable.
it just becomes it becomes laughable, and it's just it. That's not how it should be. I don't think it should be like a good story, and the story just kind of falls apart when I don't know. Is it weird to say it's too anime? Like, is that a thing?
No,
Is Can
because
something be
then
too anime?
I guess it could. But then again, you could say the same thing like about Misfit. Misfit is just really anime, but in a
That's
good way.
true.
That's what I'm saying. Like they, yeah, it's when they try too hard. That's literally all they're doing. They're just that's the problem is they're trying way too hard,
Yeah,
and it makes
it
it look this
sucks.
dumb.
It does. I mean, I don't know. I just love comparing these two shows because Misfit is absolutely the most cliche demon high school show. You have he's the Demon King. He's overpowered. He has his two also demon babes at his side who will live and die for him. And then he's just stronger than everyone else, and he makes everyone else seem dumb. And I think honestly, like, it's weird because I have like a big soft spot for these shows too. For example, you watched The Irregular at Magic High, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I say Demon King is exactly like that tier of show where it's just, oh,
Yes,
the
yeah.
main character is either number one, a super genius, or two, super strong, or both. And it's just they're driven by the plot of them being the main character and they're the best. That's it. That, like, they have that, I have the plot armor. I'm the main character going forward. But it's just it's enjoyable. Like, for those shows get something right, they they get the formula in just the right amount where you're like, you know what? I'm not annoyed by him being the best. It's like it's fun. It's just like, oh, I can go and enjoy this show. And this could be maybe my bias from like watching SAO over the years and being like, oh, it's Kirito. He's the main character. Oh, he's broken again. Because again, like these shows are only airing for 13 episodes, you know? It's not
Mhm.
like seasons upon seasons. Like I think if I had to watch seasons and seasons of Anno's Voldigold be broken, I think maybe I would get bored. I'd be like, okay, it's just kind of doing the same thing over. But
Yeah.
I think the shorter term seasons where it's like, oh, just one season actually works in these shows' favor because then it's like, oh, I got a big taste of it. I can go check out the source material and they can get their revenue off of me and that's the end of it. But I think
Are you
those
saying you
show.
don't want two seasons of Anna's Foldy Goat?
No, I 100% want 2 seasons of Anno's Gold. That would be absolutely fantastic. But on topic though, there is the next season of the regular at Magic High that I
There
think is
is.
airing. Yeah, it's airing this fall, I think. Um, is it? Let me check real quick. Yeah, it is. Season two. What? I don't even know when the first one aired. Probably like
Years ago
three,
by
four
now.
years ago, maybe. I'm not gonna check, but 3, 4 years ago that aired. So, but that's something else that I'm gonna watch because it's like it's just, oh, I'm super smart, overpowered main character. But I think the ending of that show actually left like a lot of questions.
Yeah, it did. I
So
did.
it
I
did.
just remember being really like not confused. I was just like, what?
Yeah, because like he's like and what like an he was like an assassin or something, and then there's like the whole family drama in the background where like his family doesn't like him, they like the younger sister.
Yeah.
So there's there's a lot going on there, but it's just something, to watch. That'll be good. But
Ooh, but what about next season, dude?
wait, what do you mean next season? We have my the best show airing this season,
Oh, you're right. You're right.
where
Sorry.
my bias is showing here. Uh, ReZero, as you can
Okay.
tell by my
Yep.
Discord by my
Yep.
Discord profile picture. Um, I don't have too much to say about this because you know how I feel about this. ReZero is probably one of my like. Ever since I watched the first season, there was just something about it. Maybe it was the intense suffering that I was like, wow, that sucks. I can relate to this. And I just got so invested in the universe. I don't know how. And then I picked up the source material and I started reading. And it was funny because I've told you how long Arc 4 is. That's airing right now. Arc
Yeah.
4 is the length of Arcs 1, 2, and 3. And Arcs 1, 2, and 3 were all of season 1 with, some stuff cut out because they can't squeeze it all in. But it's just like I think I read maybe all of that in like a week, maybe a week and a half. And it's so good. It was so interesting. But I think the thing about ReZero, this is just like my little small ReZero tangent because I'm always gonna bring up this show because I love it, is the writer, I think it's Taipei or Taipei, I don't remember actually. I don't remember how to pronounce his name, but his world building is insane because he actually stops writing the story to write one-offs for all the characters. Like, I've explained this to you before. Do you remember Al and Priscilla from season one?
Yes.
So they're like really minor characters in season one. They're in like 2 or 3 episodes, I think. Um, but he wrote like a one-off. just like I think a short, maybe 2 or 3 chapters, explaining how like Al and Priscilla met and what their relationship is and like kind of like their powers too, because I don't want to, say anything too spooky, spoilery, but like Priscilla has powers and Al definitely has a very interesting power as well. So, I mean, that's just one example. Then he also has one-offs. I think a lot of people know about this, and I'm not sure if you do as well, but he wrote an entire what if for in the episode where Rem says I love you on the rooftop, and it's like, oh, sad, and then Subaru goes, no, I love Amelia.
Mhm.
He wrote an entire one-off. It's a couple chapters long. I think it's pretty lengthy, explaining like, oh, like what would have happened if he ran off with Rem and had kids and grew up together. Like he actually wrote an entire thing of what happened. And then just to, to build on top, he also has a bunch of stuff explaining like the history of the world of like where they all live, of like Lagunica and like the neighboring countries. And he put so much time into building this huge world and filling it with lore where it's almost like astonishing. Well, not astonishing is a bad word, but it's just like it's mesmerizing to see him build and weave everything together, and you're just like holy, like there's so much more to this than just this 25 episode first season. There like this whole goes way deeper than it looks. And
It's like a D&D campaign, dude.
oh, that's like hitting the nail on the head, honestly. Like ReZero is like a D&D campaign, but it's just it's so awesome. I have like a really like sweet spot for this that I actually have to finish reading the rest of it. I stopped at the end of arc 4. I know what happens in 5 and 6, but I haven't actually read it. I just know things here and there.
Mhm.
But I'm really glad they're adapting arc 4. There's a lot of spicy things to look forward to, and I actually can't wait to see some of my favorite scenes animated. Uh,
Can't wait for
Shameless
this week.
plug this week. I think the certain part that I really, really love is going to get adapted, so I can't wait. I'm excited. But I don't know. What else have you been watching this season?
Okay, so I actually started watching. I don't remember the full name, but it's Iruma. Pretty much, it's about this kid, another demon setting.
Oh,
It's this kid who was basically he has like the worst parents ever. So he like works to like support them and himself, and he can't say like no to people. So he's like a yes man. Whenever they ask, like,
gotcha.
hey, Iruma, do this, he'll be like, oh yeah, sure, and like that like lands him in a bunch of like not bad situations, just like unfortunate things.
Yeah.
So and this happens in the first. It's a spoiler, but it happens like literally in the first few minutes. Um, he's like working, and a demon pops out of nowhere. Is like, "Hey, your soul is mine. Your parents sold it to me, so you come with me." And the demon takes him to like the underworld, and he like dresses him up in like a little nice outfit, and he's like, "You're gonna be my grandkid now." And like Aaron was just like, "Ah,"
What is the
and then
show?
it's great. It's you need to watch it. Yeah, I honestly, you should watch it.
All right.
And
Oh,
so
it's this one. I just looked it
yeah,
up. Ah,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I
That one.
remember I remember seeing the cover art for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
when was
really
this?
good. It's super good. I think it was last season actually.
Oh, is it?
Like maybe
Uh,
2 seasons ago.
Maybe. I'll definitely check it out because I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've seen like clips of it here and there, but I didn't actually watch it. Oh,
Yeah.
another demon-inspired
Yup.
anime.
Yup.
Another one to add on to the clock. Just while, while we're on topic of, the demon anime, I have to shameless shout out to Ichiban no Daimao.
Yes.
Demon King Daimao. That's definitely
Yes. That's another
that
demon show. It's
that
worth the
that's a
watch.
classic. But that's some trash taste right there. But
Yeah.
but besides that, are you watching anything else this season? I actually have to ask you, are you still watching God of High School, or did you stop like I did?
I actually stopped. I was keeping up with it, and I think what happened was I was waiting for you to catch up to something, and then I just ended up not watching it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. It's just I'd like to keep watching it, but it's not something like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. Like, I'm like,
yeah. Like I'm really excited for all the manhwas that are getting adapted, that are
mm,
getting their spotlight, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing with God of High School as what I did with Tower of God. Whereas I watched Tower of God every week because I heard a lot of things about it, and I've heard a lot of things about a lot of good things about both shows, and a lot of good things about God of High School as well. But I
Mhm.
heard that they don't explain a lot of the martial arts a lot, and I've heard people say that that's a really important part of the show. That like explaining the moves and how the moves work and how they learn them. And I'm not sure if maybe it's something they'll explain later on, but I'm probably just gonna wait till it ends, marathon it all, and then read um read the manhwa like I did with Tower of God because
Yeah.
I know I've been preaching to you and it's definitely a lot to ask for. It's taken me a while to read it because I read slow. I read every word on the page. I look at the photos. I don't just scroll through. But I after I finished Tower of God, I got so invested that I the next day I finally downloaded Webtoon and I think I read all of season 1 like super quick and I was like, "Holy crap." And I remember I called you up. So again, we're gonna have some Tower of God spoilers. If you haven't seen the first season, um, these are spoilers, but if you have, you're fine. I remember I literally called you on the phone because I you know exactly where I'm going.
Classic scene, dude.
I called you because I caught up before the anime aired it because I was like I need to know what happens when and I I called you and the only thing I told you was she stood up. And then you said what? Because you were very confused. And then I just kept saying it louder to you. I'm like, she stood up. She stood up. She stood up. And then it finally hit you. And you were like, oh my God, you got there. And I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. And then I think that is the moment where if anybody who's watched the show hasn't picked up the manhwa, I don't think anything else in season 2 or anywhere else on will incentivize you to pick it up as much as that because that is like the spark of the Rachel hatred. And everybody who's read past season 1 knows just how much of like a horrible person she is. So I know you read a little bit into S2,
Yeah.
and after reading into S2, leaving that shameless image of Viol with like the long hair, I'm just like,
Mhm.
man, I hope they do a season 2. I hope they keep going because I think I told you I finished season 2 last week.
Yeah, you did.
I
You
wanted
remember you
to
told me.
really cruise and like take my time with it, and it's really worth it. I think it's 340 chapters long, but it's worth every page. That that writer really knows how to tie everyone together, and he does such a good job. Like it's really good. I would recommend that you finally finish season 2.
Finally, finished season
You
two.
started it and then dropped it.
I started it. Then,
How could
okay,
you do
okay.
that?
You know why? I'll tell you why. Because another manhwa called Solo Leveling.
Oh my God.
Bringing this one in.
You dropped Tower of God for solo leveling? How could you?
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude. Tell me Solo Leveling isn't good.
I can't because you actually made me read it.
I told
This is
you.
th- this is the casual popular squad shows to talk about, but solo leveling was awesome because I remember you were like read it, read it, read it, read it, read it, and I'm like no, I'm reading Tower of God, leave me alone. And then I was like fine, and
And
then
then you read
I
it.
read the first chapter and I was like well, I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I think I finished it in like 2 days or something,
Yeah,
two or
yeah.
3 days because I had to eat and sleep like a normie.
God, goddamn
But,
Normie, dude.
no, that was really good, and it was actually the perfect time to finish because I think you finished it way before I did, but I finished it I think maybe 3 weeks before the writer finally started season 2.
Mhm.
So I finished it at the perfect time because I was like, oh, I can chill. And then I remember I was scrolling through some media website and it was like solo leveling season 2 announced next week, and I'm like, excuse me, I just finished this. And all the comments are like, "Oh, finally! I've been waiting so long." And I'm like, "Look at these! Look at these
I've been
suckers!
waiting
I just
years.
I've been waiting 2 weeks. So I've been waiting for years for this to come out." But no, solo
Oh
leveling's
man.
good. Um, best girl, real quick. Who is it?
I don't know. Okay, it's the girl. I don't remember. Okay, I remember.
There's only two options.
Okay,
Only
it's
two.
the one who can who like can't smell like or who smells
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
I'm actually gonna look up her name because I don't remember, but she is.
I won't lie, the names are a little
They're
they
hard
pass me.
because yeah, they're
Yeah,
hard.
different language
I'm probably
names.
gonna butcher the pronunciation too, but I'm gonna try. But anyway, it's I. Okay, wait. Do you actually just choose her? You think it's her?
There's also Demon Girl,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page because I know she was only in what, like 10 chapters, maybe. But oh
but
man,
she was so cute, dude.
Demon Girl,
Oh,
she was adorable. She was so cute, and she was like a dude. That was like saddest moment. She was like, "I want to come with you," and he's like, "No," and just
I'll be like, I'll be
leaves.
back, and just
He,
leaves
he
for
just
years.
he just curbs her. He's like, "No, goodbye." And it's like, "Oh, okay then. I'll just sit here as the reigning demon clan." But wait, we don't have a lot of power or fighting combat ability, so what's gonna happen? But I mean, well, again, you know, w- we've come full circle. Like solo leveling is another one of those I can't say shows, is another one of those stories where it's just like the main character is broken. Main character's like he's overpowered and you're like he's only going to get better than everyone else. He beats everything that like falls in his path or like he has to fight and
Mhm.
you're just like is he going to lose? But he doesn't. But I mean again, it's the formula where they do it in a way where I don't mind him being broken. Like for
Yeah,
example, okay, so like why aren't you annoyed with solo leveling then? Because I'm like,
because you start like it's the first few chapters. He starts off as like, and it's okay. It's more spoilers because we're gonna be talking
it's
about this.
fine.
But he starts off as literally the worst. What do you call them? Adventures?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're adventures.
The worst hunters. The
Oh,
worst
the
hunter.
hunters. Yes, you're right. It's
Yeah,
hunters.
the worst hunter in the world, or sorry, in South Korea. Let's put it that way. He's
Yeah.
literally like, like he's working just to like live, which is that's a noble
Yeah.
reason. And he gets wrecked, and everyone makes fun of him, like just belittles him. But yet he was the most courageous one, and I think that's the reason why I don't give him a shit for like just becoming like OP and like
Yeah.
in no time because he does train. Like he does have the whole like hospital scene of where like he had to run away to live
Yeah, exactly.
and
But
like he was like training and then he like had like the body. But though I won't lie, there like the story thing of he even said himself is like he shouldn't have gotten that body so fast. It was because the I guess we'll call it the system
yeah,
gave it to help him out.
exactly. But I mean, I also agree with you 100%. Like it's the fact that it's not really like this isn't just like main character syndrome where it's like, oh, like I guess we can go back to SAO. Like Kirito's the main character, like, oh, he was in the beta, he knows where to go and stuff like that. But it's a matter of fact that like there's no way that um nobody else playing the game is like grinding as hard as he is and like getting
Yeah.
those levels. He's just kind of like chosen from the plot. And I think um oh what's the main character's name? Is
Uh,
it something Jin? I don't remember. Yujin?
maybe.
Is it Yujin, I think?
Hold on, I'll tell you.
Because I'm getting mixed up with Tower of God because I know all those
Yeah.
characters. But anyway, while you find that, um, oh wait, let me look. Actually, Jinwoo, that's it. Sung Jinwoo.
Sunjin Rock.
Yeah. So anyway, I think why I don't, why I'm not really as upset of with Jinwoo being as broken and overpowered of a character as he is when in those first chapters when he's weak and when he is still doing his best going on these raids even though like I mean he doesn't have to care about his family he can just be like for I'll say family for spoilers but you, you know what I'm talking about where
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do that he can just fend for himself he's being like a good son and a good brother and like he's even though he's ranked E he's going on these raids to like make money and that type of mentality that he has really reminds me of Endeavor and Endeavor is probably my favorite hero in the My Hero Academia universe. I only say that because I used to not like him, but that was because we didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And I think this is oh no, it's not manga only because in this most recent season, I think they talked about it. So if you're not caught up on to the newest season of My Hero Academia, this is also a spoiler. But when they show Endeavor, about why he did what he did for Todoroki and like what he did to his family and why he did it. And there's that little flashback where like everyone's like, "Oh, All Might's the number one hero. No one's gonna catch him." But then it shows Endeavor still training, still trying hard because he's the only one who believed that he himself could ever be as good as All Might, or
Yeah.
he could surpass. He's like they're pretty much like the Bakugo and Deku if Bakugo stood no chance of catching up to Deku, which is debatable. But more or less, like All Might had that fire, which is obviously his character, but he had that passion and that fire to be like, I can beat him. I can beat All Might. I can become the number one hero. I can surpass him. And that's kind of like a similar drive to Jinwoo, where he's like, I can be the best. He's like, I can still do, he's like, I can still do my best even if I'm not the best because I have to. And like, then he goes through the whole first episode, and then you're like, okay, he still has this drive. See, that's the thing. He never loses that when he becomes really strong, which is something I really like about his character as well.
Mhm.
It's just like he's still, kind of humble, I guess, but he's just a good character, and he doesn't lose all of those things. He doesn't get like super cocky or whatnot. He always like kind of respects his enemy, no matter who he's fighting. So I think that's something similar though. But solo leveling's good. Got a little sidetracked over here, but
That's all good.
you brought it up, man.
I had to. I had to.
You know me. I'm gonna go on a rant about anything if it comes up, because my brain doesn't work. But what else is airing this season that we were watching? I'm trying to think. We did go to high school. Oh, all right. I actually forgot about this one. We both love this show. I waited for it to end, but My Teen Love, comedy.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
yes.
yes. The
God damn.
waifu
All
war
right.
that never ended. That was good.
Oh,
Honestly, that show like it. Okay, I guess we're gonna get into like aging, aging with anime, I guess,
mhm.
because it's more or less as you get older, shows hit different, right? It's
Yeah.
not just me, like you don't relate to the characters anymore. Like for example, a lot of like the slice of life or like the rom-com school animes, when I was a kid, maybe it's because I was like oh like TFW and OGF or whatnot in high
Yeah.
school and everything. And now I'm older. I mean, I have a girlfriend now, but it's just like those things don't resonate with you. Like maybe because I'm not as like young as I was when I started watching anime and I had different thoughts about it. I watch things and I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. Like it feels weird. So I'm hoping I don't have those feelings. And like I don't know if you're afraid of the same thing when coming back to the show because I really loved the show, but I was
Yeah.
also very obviously like my angsty, edgy teenager phase. I think when I was watching this and I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna be like. I'm not gonna feel like I'm the same as Hachiman anymore. I think the show is gonna lose all its meaning.
I think I do have like some fears about that, but I'll still watch it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean same. Like I'm still gonna watch it too. Like I like all the characters, and I heard I don't know her name, but I heard the blue haired girl is pretty awesome. She's pretty 10 out of 10. So
Yes.
maybe there's a new combatant to
A
join the battle.
new waifu to fight
There's a
over.
new waifu to fight over. There's always a new waifu to fight over. But that show definitely like I think even though I'm older, I think I can still appreciate um like the value it brings and like the topics
Mhm.
and content it talks about and like how the characters feel. I think,
Mhm.
I'll still be able to like, understand to a degree and like have it like resonate within me and be like, okay, like I still feel a bit similar or you never forget your edgy days. So like, oh, I would have felt similar, but now it's different. So there's all those shows, but I guess I think that's also like an interesting topic for us to talk about, like how has like anime aged with you, I guess? Like do you feel the same about old shows that like you watched? Like do you feel the same way about I don't know.
Uh,
I can't think of like a major
here,
show.
here's an example. Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
I used to like love
Oh
it.
no.
I used to love Gurren Lagann, and it still has a place in my heart. However, I wouldn't say recently, but yeah, like a few months ago, I rewatched it with my girlfriend,
Oh, really?
And yeah, I watched. We watched the whole thing, and
Oh
it
God.
just it was just I don't know. I don't know how to explain this feeling. Like I guess it's similar. It just made him like it just aged not that good.
Really? It's not like nostalgic for you at all. It's just
Yes,
like,
it
oh,
doesn't
it's
even feel nostalgic. It just feels like oh okay,
oh
but it's still good. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. I
no, no,
still love
no.
Gurren
It's a
Lagann.
great show, but like I I get what you mean. I guess it's kind of like for a really far out example. Like I was actually talking with my roommate about this.
Mhm.
Um, you watched SpongeBob a lot when you were a kid, right? Kind of.
A few episodes. Let's say like the first season. Yes.
Okay. Um, so pretty much there's an I actually forgot what I was gonna talk about, but just for a very g general example was like maybe like I'll go back and watch like an old episode of SpongeBob that I used to love and I'll watch it and I'm like this actually isn't that funny. But like why was I laughing when I was a kid? Maybe because like and it's not even dumb humor or like innuendos or those weird like references that
Yeah.
like obviously are just really that they do a good job and kind of clever. But I'll go back and I'll just be like, this isn't funny like at all. Like some things just don't age well, or maybe you age out of them.
Yeah.
But I can't talk about Girl the Gone, so not gonna say why. So I'm just gonna brush that one off to
Yeah,
brush that one off to
that
this
one to the side.
brush that
All
one
right,
off
how
to the
about a
side.
little bit one that's similar that we both watched, Kill la Kill. What do you think about rewatching Kill la Kill?
Oh man. I mean, okay,
Yeah,
okay. I have mixed feelings about Kill la Kill because I remember that was when I first broke out of my shell, and I watched Kill la Kill with you and Jack and Daniel at my house in high school. I remember that
we
we
watched the final
we
episode at
watched
your
the
house.
finale together, and that was the first time I actually ever watched anime with friends. Was with you guys. I was like, oh my God, I have friends coming over to literally watch anime. I'm such a fucking nerd. Like, oops. But
Like, mom, leave me alone. I'm watching anime.
yeah. Um, but okay. Kill la Kill is definitely an interesting show. Um, would I rewatch it? Yeah, Kill la Kill saved anime. But it's I think it's gonna. I mean, I know it's kind of a meme show, and it's one of those shows that's not serious. It's like it's fun. I can watch it for fun. I I think I would only watch the first half if I rewatched it. I think the back half of Kill la Kill, even though it ties up the story and everything together, I think I think personally watching the back half would just be a little weird. I don't know if you remember the back half of Kill la Kill where,
Yeah,
yeah,
or the
yeah,
scenes, and then like the whole like
the whole,
plot, and
yeah,
then
and then it's like clothes or evil and whatnot, and it's just, I don't know, the back half of Kill la Kill is kind of weird.
I remember we made fun of the finale because she looked like Sonic, like Super Sonic, and Jack kept saying like, "Oh, she collected all the emeralds."
She got all the Chaos Emeralds. Oh man, dude, the ending of Kill la Kill was funny, but then again, like, Kill la Kill was just, um, it was just like a huge Gurren Lagann reference.
It
Like if
was.
you really think about it, I'm like,
It
man,
was.
it's like I'm watching Gurren Lagann with clothes as the plot instead of drills. Like just swap out drills for clothes and bam, it's the same thing. And I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is,
No,
but
it pretty is. I think Trigger has that problem where
yeah. Well,
like
Trigger has some interesting shows though, because like it's not just Trigger. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe.
a lot of studios do it, but like Trigger mainly, like, cause I won't lie, I watched another one that they did was BNA brand new animal,
Oh, you what?
and
Okay, you watched
it
BNA.
was just going like on with animals.
No, was it actually? No. Okay.
No, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. Okay,
Let's be straight here. Was it at okay? What I've heard about the show, but please don't tell me it's actually Gorilla Gone with animals.
okay, not actually, but because I've seen Gurren Lagann, I guess it's more recent to my memory. There are parts that make me feel okay. This is very Trigger, like
Yeah, but
like that. That kind of like,
that's like
but
Trigger's thing though.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's Trigger, but then
So
I
maybe
don't
it's
know.
not fair to say it's Gurren Lagann. It's more of like it's a Trigger thing.
Okay,
Like
but I mean
it's
like,
definitely very Trigger.
but you're expecting that because you're going into it knowing it was made by Trigger. Like they have like
Yes,
a very distinct art style.
yes.
You can like stare at like a cover for an anime and you're like, okay, Trigger, easy. But I mean, I I mean as like Kill la Kill was very Gurren Lagann in the way where it's like, oh, the don't they like go into space at the end of Kill la Kill and have like their big space battle with their giant swords or giant weapons? And I'm like, oh, just
Something like that. Yeah.
just give them drills and it's the same thing. Like it's just interesting. But I mean, how actually was BNA though? Because I heard about it. I heard it was like the wannabe Bea Stars, but
It's definitely
I
not
don't
the
like
same. It's
I
yeah,
don't like
no, there's
watching
no
shows like
comparison
that.
for that because Beastars is more like mystery, like romance, and this is more of like Trigger.
Okay,
That's it.
it's more
It's
trigger.
it's literally like it's fun to watch.
Oh,
It's
the
fun to
only way I
watch.
can describe it.
It's short.
It's
It's short
trigger.
enough.
It's what?
It's short enough where you can just watch the whole thing in like one go. Probably.
Okay, that's fair. It's not bad. But
I remember I watched with a friend and we watched like 8 episodes in one night.
oh, okay. I'm I'm starting to believe that the it's just trigger vibe because I'm just thinking back to the endings of shows, and then I never watched all of it, but I watched the ending with you, and I mean I heard a lot of things about the show, but I mean I want to go back and like actually watch all of it. But I know you saw the ending too. Darwin and the Franks
Mm.
isn't like it's just
Uh,
trigger.
it's just okay. Yeah. Yes. That's the
It's
way we can
it's
put it. It's
it's
just Trigger.
it's just trigger. Okay, so maybe then I guess my argument for Kill la Kill being a Gurren Lagann is just wrong because it's um I don't know, it's just not the same.
Like I don't know. They just have that. It has that feel. Like it has that. It just has those scenes where like wow, like you could you could just take a scene off of Girl Laga, put it in there, and it would still make sense. It's just
Why are you so
you could
right
just
though?
interchange these scenes for each like Darling and the Franks. You could change the last scene of like Gurren Lagann with Darling and the Franks, and it would still make as much sense. God, I kind of want to see that now. Just
No, don't do it
no.
after. Do it after.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh
Oh
man,
God, Trigger's just that's funny.
it's
Just
just
like, oh, how do you describe this show? It's
it's triggered.
it's Trigger. I mean, it makes sense though, you know?
Yeah.
But oh, I forgot how we got on topic of Trigger. What were we talking about? Oh,
Duh.
I asked you what else you're watching, and you said BNA,
Yeah.
and then that's fair. BNA was on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I guess on topic. Well, you've also watched you watched Bea Stars, didn't you?
I did. I did watch Bea
How'd you
Stars, and
like
I
Bea
enjoyed it a
Stars?
lot. I
Really?
watched Bea Stars like I think 3 times.
Wait,
Once by my
no way.
yeah, once by myself, once with my girlfriend, and once with my friend.
That's
I
cool.
really enjoy that show.
Oh, I have to watch it then because like it's weird. I've only heard good things about Beastars. No one's ever said
Yeah,
anything bad except for the memers who were like, "Ew, you're gonna watch that?
it's
It's just
furry.
furry." I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, who cares though? Like, The Lion King is a good. You aren't called a furry for watching Lion King. Well, I don't know if that's the same thing, but
No, it's kind of the same.
because the only other argument is Zootopia, and I don't want to go there.
I've
So
actually never seen Zootopia, so we'll leave it at that.
I haven't either, but I've
Have you seen some
yeah,
scenes?
I've seen things about
Seen
Zootopia
some
where
art?
I understand where people come from it. But yeah, Beastars is definitely something that I need to watch. It aired pretty recently too, so I should probably hop on the train and just watch it already.
Yeah, you should just go for it.
Yeah, Beastars isn't too bad. I don't know what else is from. I'm just trying to think of what else is from this season. I don't think there's really anything else
No.
from this season that's like that we've already hit or talked about. But I guess just really quick to segue back to what we were talking about on how like oh like those anime change as you grow up. That's where we were. Gosh, I can't remember anything. Um, more or less where like we were with anime kind of and like growing up if it makes you feel different. I think
Yes, yes, yes.
I've had this fear ever since I started watching anime. It's probably a really bad one to have, but it's I don't rewatch shows. And the reason I have that fear is because whenever I finish a show, one of the most important things to me is an ending. And it's like I feel a certain way after I watch a show, And
Mhm.
that's how I feel about the show. So like, oh, someone asked me, oh, how'd you like, I don't know, Code Geass, or oh, how'd you like, Fate Zero or something, or anything weird? How'd you like Hinamatsuri, for example? I'm like, oh, it was hilarious. I loved the show. It was goofy and it was awesome. But like, I'm always terrified to watch a show again, because if I don't feel the same way, I'm afraid to lose that place, like in my mind or like in my anime like reservoir, that 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 show holds. Like if I watch
Uh,
Hinamatsuri again and I'm like, I don't like this. This is stupid and lame. Like I don't want to have that view of the show anymore, because it's like I liked how I felt when I watched the show. I don't want to watch it
mhm.
again and be like, I don't want to lose that first viewing. But then like I guess the counter argument, right, would be, oh, to like maybe really understand the show, to get rid of that, first view feelings, you should watch it again. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to. And then I don't watch the shows again.
Yep.
But it's true
Uh,
because, for example, I think I'm trying to think of a show I watched a long. Okay, I think a show I watched a long time ago was. This is the counterexample to my thing. I'm trying to get Jill into anime.
mhm.
It's a struggle, but I'm trying. And I watched. She says she likes the cutesier art styles, so I'm like, okay, let's watch Clannad, for example. It's a classic. It's an old show. She likes, sad, romantic kind of things.
Yeah.
So we watched Clannad, and we watched the whole first season. And I watched it again, and I'm like, wow, I still love this show ever since the first time I watched it. I watched it again, and I'm like, man, this is so nostalgic for me. I love everyone's voice actors, especially Akio. I love Akio. Um, for example, I actually only watched, I think both times I only watched the dubs for Clannad. And I don't know if you've seen the sub, but I've only ever watched it dubbed. I've heard the voice acting in the sub. I've seen some episodes and I like it, but for some reason the dub just stands out to me. That I like it a lot more.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I've only seen it subbed,
Oh,
but
really?
I've seen the scenes.
Yeah.
Um,
You've seen him in both.
so I've seen scenes in like dub, but I mean, I've mainly only watched it in sub.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm like strictly like usually only watching subs, and because I don't rewatch those, I never watch dubs.
Mm.
But it's more or less just like, I don't know, that dub is so good to me. I love it. And I guess, for example, another one is like Full Metal Alchemist, for example. I never watched that subbed. I watched it dubbed. Did you watch Full Metal Alchemist sub?
Uh, I saw, like I said, it's a similar thing. I've only saw a few episodes of the original series on
Okay.
like Toonami,
Hmm.
or not Toonami. I think it would have been on Adult Swim, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
But then
probably.
I watched all of Brotherhood subbed.
Oh my God. That's fair though. I
Yeah.
mean, but like the thing is, there's no like good and bad for those, but I think like the dub is just awesome. As do most people. Most people, I think it's generally perceived as like the dub is fantastic for Full Metal Alchemist.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I think that's another show I watched when I was younger. So more or less, I was probably like, oh, I don't want to read, I just want to watch it. So I watched it, and I don't know. I think it's just like it's one of those shows that's like, man, like the dub like feels special to you, so you just don't want to watch it subbed.
Yeah,
But it's
I can see that point.
yeah.
Like for me, I watched Elephant Lead in dub. That was great.
Was it actually good?
No, actually, I don't even remember. I repressed most of that show.
I've seen parts of Elfen Lied. It's weird. Oh, like
Okay.
a lot of the old shows I should have seen when I first started watching anime, I've never seen. Like this is how to ruin my like. Well, I don't really have any credibility, but this is definitely a way to ruin my chances of getting any. Like for example, like I think I've only seen as much Evangelion as I've watched with you and Jack. So those like first like 5 or 6 episodes of Evangelion, that's all I've ever seen.
That's okay.
I think
It's
we watched right up until Asuka got introduced on the ship.
yeah, yeah,
That's right where we got to, and then I never saw anymore.
yeah. I think it's okay because even Gillion's not one of those things where you could like anyone can just watch it. It is not like
Well, it's not even like me not being into the show. It's just like I watched it with you, I was interested, but it's just like I never took my own time to watch it.
yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say I was uninterested since I didn't take the time to watch it, but it's more or less, I don't know. I mean, you guys taught me the only thing I really need to know about Evangelion is that like Misato's best girl. I
Oh
mean,
yes, yes.
that's about it. True men of culture.
Hmm.
A true casual connoisseur knows that Misato is literally worth it.
Best girl.
Best girl. But
Nah, it's
yeah.
all about the penguin, dude.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's about the penguin. How foolish of me. I'm so naive.
It's okay.
That's not too bad. Trying to think. What else we got? Um, we hit most of everything. I don't know. Do you want to keep talking?
I think I don't know. It's good spot to chill
Good spot
or
to
to
stop.
stop. Yeah, good spot to
All right.
stop.
I guess we do it. I guess we got to do an outro or something. Thanks to anybody for watching the first episode of Casual Anime Connoisseurs. I'm Anthony again here with Alex, and we'll hope to see you guys next time. Later.
Adios.
All right, it's going, so we'll just let it go.
All right, awesome.
How do I fucking do this?
Like there's gotta be
How to make
focus.
it bigger?
Maybe not.
I don't think it can get any bigger.
All right, so it's just the two small little dots.
Focus? Yeah, I guess so. Oh, it doesn't matter. We're chilling.
Yeah.
All right. It looks so fucking dumb.
It looks great because you got the actual anime picture and then whatever eyes is on the right.
Uh, wait. We aren't allowed to curse on YouTube, right?
Um,
I don't think we can. I don't really know
I mean,
I don't know the rules. I
you
think
you can,
I
but
think we have to censor it.
I guess
Oh,
so.
I'm too lazy for that. All right, well,
This is the first episode. We'll just do whatever.
it's just the first episode. Doesn't
Just
matter.
exactly.
Just, oh man, what are we called again? Ah, yes. All right.
Cock. Welcome to Cock, guys.
Hello, and
Good God,
do
yeah.
you want to do an outro? Like, thanks for watching, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you can. You know.
All right.
Thanks for coming to Cock. You know.
Shut up. I'm not putting that in there. I prefer CAC.
CAC.
Oh man. Okay, you're banned.
No, man.
Only one
See,
episode.
the only one episode that we ever got to. That's
That's it. We got to one and we couldn't
one and
close
done.
without saying cock. Oh man, that's definitely not going in the video. Uh, all right, I guess I'll just fucking make up an ending. Um, but all right, thanks to anybody for watching.